going, fellow traders? It's Magic Trader here, and this is the CFTC report for May 28th, 2019. Here is the positions of the institutions captured as of that date. And so let's start by taking a look at gold. Alright, so what do we see here? So price came down to that weekly ascending trend line that we've been watching for quite some time. It's been sitting and sitting and sitting for weeks. And, you know, longs were aggressive up until May 14th. And what do we see happening right before this push upwards? We see them dropping long positions, okay? So it's important to know that, because when we see a rally up from an ascending trend line that is not just being witnessed by the institutions but also by retail traders, what would typically take place if price was to continue up like this would be institutions accumulating a long position at that trend line. Okay, so they would use the momentum that comes into the market, fed by the retail traders buying off of the test of the trend line, and what they would typically do is buy alongside with them if indeed the plan was to push price upwards like this. So knowing that, we have to examine what's taking place, right? Over the last few weeks, we see them dropping closing long positions from 226,000 down to 203, down to 194,000. Okay, that's quite a significant drop. Now mind you, leading up to that, they were increasing longs throughout here, and you saw price moving upwards. We had that fake out on the daily chart that lured traders into shorting, and then them stopping out by pushing it higher through the stops, dropping it back down to the ascending weekly trend line, and now they close off those longs. So you can see a little bit of trickery is afoot here. Okay, so now we take a look at short positions, and what do we see? We see that they also close some from 114 to 107. Bottom line is short positions are the more aggressive. If you take a look at the average short position, it's 112. We're currently sitting below it. The average long position is 197, and we are also currently sitting below that. Net positions are still in the positive, but if you take a look here, the coloration, you can see blue, red, a little bit more blue, and then red again. So currently we're in a little bit of a bearish sentiment, but with a tinge of neutral in it. So it's just best to sit on the sidelines right now, which is what we are doing, and wait to see what takes place. But the key thing to remember here is the big push up, or the big consolidation before the big push up. What we are seeing is profit taking on longs. What will be interesting to see is next week's data to see indeed what is taking place with this big push up. Are they adding longs? Are they only adding longs to trick traders into going long as well? Well, I have my idea as to what is taking place, but we'll see on next week's data what it has to show us. And next we have oil. Oil collapsing just as our analysis has been predicting. And I do say predict because that's exactly what we did as price was coming up. We said that price was going to reverse and start heading back downwards, and that's exactly what has taken place. I opened up some short positions there on my personal account. I have since closed them. But it's just too bad that the cost of opening up a position on oil is so extreme, because I would be heavily in short positions right here if there wasn't such a serious cost to holding the positions. But the drop has taken place, so I will be watching and waiting for the next entry to get in. If we take a look at positions, we can see they've been declining, taking profits on longs, which is exactly what we've been saying. And a slight increase in short positions causing and helping that drop to the downside. Bottom line is the aggressive long exposure is starting to decline. And now let's take a look at US dollar. US dollar just fell short of hitting a weekly area of supply, consolidating. And what do we see? Profit taking on some longs from 43,000 to 41,000 in positions, and they also declined with their short positions. So why are they reducing the exposure? Well, remember, just a few weeks ago, their total size positions on both long and shorts were somewhat aggressive. And so they've since closed the longs and closed shorts to reduce that overall exposure down to 56,000. We can also see that it's somewhat still bullish, sitting at 74%, and you can see net position still somewhat bullish. But we have to be careful right now, because if you take a look at the other dollar pairs, they've been very extreme with their long positions, and they've already started taking profits on them. Okay? And when you take a look at the rest of the markets, you're going to see that there is a certain theme that's in play right now, and that is a profit-taking theme. Now, we have to be careful when trading during a profit-taking theme, because we don't want to be trying to accumulate a position when the institutions are offloading their positions. All right? We want to let them offload, let the momentum sit in or set in, and then once that momentum shifts back to the direction of our overall analysis and we see them starting to accumulate, then we can jump in and start to accumulate alongside with them. All right, so now we go over to the Aussie US dollar, and so this is one of those pairs that I was telling you about. Now we know that they've been very aggressive with their shorts, and so profit taking is what has been expected, and we know that currently price is sitting within a weekly area of demand, so it's not it's not outside the realm of possibility to see a rally from this area take place, being created by profit taking on shorts, because again, they're overexposed with their total size, they're very aggressive with their shorts, so the profit taking has to take place, and there's pretty much not much more to take away from what we're seeing than that, and this is very key. Then we have the US CAD. So US CAD has been one of the US dollar pairs that have been holding up pretty well, considering what we're seeing with the US Japanese yen and also the US Swiss franc. This one's been holding up pretty well, and it should be, because we have higher time frame forces that are pushing upwards on price. We have a momentum shift on the monthly chart, so we are expecting a bigger push to the upside. So as the dollar gets weak, this has been holding up very well. Bottom line though is, take a look at the overall exposure, 78% to the long side. Only thing is, if you take a look at the positions, they're not nearly as aggressive to the long side as they used to be here. Okay? So take away from that whatever you will. I know what I am thinking, and we have discussed it many times in the community. So we now look at the US Swiss franc. So we hit a weekly area of supply when longs were aggressive. So what do they do with those positions is they take profits at the supply area. And we see now a big reduction from 53,000 down to 39,000, and we are getting the drop. Right now price is sitting within a weekly area of demand, but we're still very aggressively long with the exposure at 89%, so we could easily see a bigger decline start to form based on the evidence that we see here. So being careful with this one. I won't re-engage in this one until I see some really good profit taking on those long positions, and then momentum starting to shift, and then a reaccumulation of those long positions, and then I'll get back into that chart. Euro, there's not much to see here. It's still grinding away ever so slowly. I mean, this is months and months and months of trading. Not much has been taking place here. So, you know, shorts are not moving, long slightly increased, no big deal. We're still in neutral territory. Bottom line, they are still bearish with their net positions, but if you take a look at the coloration of the cells telling us what is taking place right now, they're somewhat neutral. So we move on to the pounds. So the pound's a very interesting one. And I sense I have a good idea of what's going to be taking place with the pound. Okay? I want you to look at what we see here and what is starting to happen here. Okay? Because I sense what is going to take place is a reaccumulation of a larger short position with the pound. Okay? Now, we are somewhat aggressive with longs right now as price hits a weekly area of demand. And there is another pair that is doing something very similar. So I'm going to point it out, but I want to make note of this for you because I want you to see what is likely going to take place because of this accumulation of the long position. Okay? So we have higher time frame forces pushing price downwards, but very likely that we get a rally here, and this might be exactly what they are preparing for. Okay? So just something to be aware of. And now we have the US dollar Japanese yen. I mentioned we have higher time frame forces pushing price downwards. And so if you take a look here, you see that the weekly momentum has shifted from upwards to downwards. We have a new area of supply, and we have room for price to continue lower. So we see that longs were taken for profits up here when they were aggressive, and now they've been continuing to take profits on those positions, causing price to drop. So this drop is not so much an accumulation of a short position, it's more taking profits on longs. So we should expect at some point a reversal back upwards that could potentially give us a great opportunity to get in short on this chart. Kiwi Dollar. Take a look here. Inside weekly demand. Shorts are still very aggressive and an accumulation of a long position. Okay, just like with the pound. Remember, I was mentioning that to you. So it's likely we see a rally from this area as they take profits on their shorts and probably even accumulate more of a long to help with the bigger push upwards. Bottom line is I think we are going to continue heading lower. It's just a matter of time until that plays out. And but we're going to see some profit taking take place first. Alright, so there you have it. There's your CFTC report for the data recorded on May 28th. I want you to take a look at this. This is extremely important. Knowledge is not power, it is only potential. It's only potential. Applying that knowledge is power. But understanding why and when to apply that knowledge is wisdom. And that's what we try to teach you here at the school. So, hope you take something away from that. And until next time, enjoy.